Hi everyone, welcome to another All In, the Fleischman Center's Alumni Live Lunch Interviews. My name is Cassie and I'll be hosting the All In today. If this is your first time joining us for an All In, it's an opportunity for us to chat with alumni and to hear about their experiences, where they are, what they're doing, advice that they have for current students, and anything else like that. So if you do have questions throughout the live, please feel free to drop them in the chat or to use the question feature as well. Today we will be interviewing Christian Gutierrez. Christian graduated in 2017 from Binghamton with a degree in economics and is currently working as an assistant examiner at the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. So Christian will be joining us in just a few minutes here, and we'll get going with the interview. Again, if this is your first time hopping into one of our all-in segments, please feel free to drop any questions in the comments or to use that feature. And if any current students are tuning in, I hope that you're enjoying your winter break and getting lots of rest and recharging because the spring semester will be starting before you know it. So we will work to get Christian into the live in just a couple minutes here. I'm hoping that he can get connected. We haven't done one of these in a little bit of time, so keeping our fingers crossed for no tech issues or anything like that. And we'll get started as soon as we can. Give him a couple more minutes to get in here. There's Christian. Awesome. So we'll get Christian connected in just a second here, and we'll start to dive in with questions. Christian, you should be seeing an option to request to join the live. Perfect. And we'll get him right in here. All right. It's loading. Gotta love technology, right? All right. There we go. Hi, Christian.
Hi, Casey. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Luckily, I was able to figure out how to get on this Instagram.
Yes.
I never been on live before, so.
Good. I'm glad you were able to get connected. I know I was just thinking I haven't even been on live in a couple months here because it's been our winter break. So had to kind of dust everything off and get going again. So thank you so much for joining us today. I'm excited to talk with you and to ask you some questions so that you can share more about your experience with our current students and anyone else who may be tuning in. So why don't you start by just telling us a little bit about yourself and what you currently do?
Sure. So I attended Binghamton a couple years ago. I believe I graduated in 2018. And I'm currently working at the Office of Comptroller of Currency. And that's a federal agency. And what they do is they regulate banks. So I'm working as a bank examiner. And in there right now, I'm in my first year. And the first year is basically training. And I'm working as a generalist. So I'm looking at different areas of the banking industry. So I'll look at like different regulations like the Bank Secrecy Act, make sure they're following that and they're in compliance with that. And I also look at how the bank is doing financially. So I'm always doing something different. And that's one of the reasons I chose the job, just because it allows me to try different areas. And going through college and even out of college, I was always trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to do. So I really found this to be the perfect fit because I can figure it out as I go.
Yeah, that's great. And kind of speaking of your college experience and figuring it out a little bit as you go, can you share with us a little bit about your Binghamton experience, what you majored in, things that you were involved with, and things like that?
Sure. So maybe I could talk a little bit about how I, before I got into Binghamton and then work my way into that. So before I got into Binghamton, I attended LaGuardia Community College. I wasn't really sure what it is exactly I wanted to do. You know, college was something that was very new to me. First generation college student. My parents didn't go to college, so when I first entered LaGuardia, it really wasn't. Binghamton wasn't on my radar, and it wasn't on my radar because I really didn't even know it existed, right?
Yeah.
So Once I went to LaGuardia, I was really exposed to a lot of different things, a lot of different opportunities, and that's where I learned about different opportunities that were available to me, and that's where I found out about Binghamton and different universities that I couldn't really even imagine attending before that. So once I found out about Binghamton, I decided to apply. I wanted to get that experience of going away for school, trying something different. And Binghamton really seemed like the perfect place for that. So I left LaGuardia and I moved from New York City up to Binghamton, and it was a real big shock. It was, everything was very foreign to me.
Yeah.
The school was huge. The student population was huge as well, and they were always on campus. I was used to LaGuardia. It's a commuter school, so students were in and out, but during those school hours at Binghamton, the campus is full, right? At least be pre-COVID, right?
Yep.
So it was all new to me, and I remember stepping into my first class. It was my economic. So I majored in economics.
Yeah.
It was Professor Kenny Christensen, and it was a huge class, Econ 101, and there were so many students, and I was just like, oh my God, how am I gonna get through this? Um, and really, the way I got through it was by getting involved on campus
Yeah.
and really finding a group of people that I enjoyed being with that really pushed me to develop myself, not only as a student, but also as a friend, as a mentor, and all these things that are really positive. So I was able to find a good group of people to be with, and I did that by joining different organizations. So I was part of the Phi Theta Kappa business fraternity. I was also involved in the transfer student club, and I was a resident assistant in College in the Woods. So I got to meet people um, through all those organizations, and really that's what allowed me to get through that first shock.
Yeah. I think that's so important and so fitting really as the spring semester is about to start. And of course, things are quite different on campus, but such a really good example that there are still so many ways to get involved. And if any students are in residence halls, there's still ways to get involved there. And clubs and orgs are still meeting, a lot of them virtually, but there are still ways to get involved. Good. Is
Yeah.
there any one experience that you can think of from your time at Binghamton that you really feel like prepared you with a skill or something that you're using like every day in your career?
One particular experience, I would say the overall experience of being a resident assistant really helped me in my career,
Mm-hmm.
because it pushed me out of my comfort zone. So I would say, as a general advice, maybe try to find something that pushes you out of your comfort zone. And for me, it was just um, speaking in front of a large group of people, interacting with students that are coming in, and things like that. It was all foreign to me, made me feel uncomfortable, and I was like, you know what? Let me give this a try. And it really helped me. It helped me with my communication. It helped me with meeting other people. It helped me with coming up with different events and ideas, and it showed me the importance of connecting with my fellow students. And I think that's a skill that I have also brought into the workforce, right? Because when you enter your first job, you don't really know anyone, but it's really essential to know people in order to succeed at the job you're doing. So I use those skills from being a resident assistant in my job to sort of build that network and find people that I could collaborate with and work with, and work with them well. There was skills, um, working as an RA. You might work with someone that you're not used to working with, right? And the same thing happens at a job. So I was able to use those skills and easily transition them into the career that I'm in now.
Yeah, I think that's such a great example of, how you can be involved with things throughout your college experience that maybe aren't a direct correlation to your career, but that really give you that foundation, and hopefully some confidence as well to then step into that new role, and to use those skills effectively.
Exactly, because the technical skills, they'll come with time, right? You're not going to know everything as soon as you start a job. but those soft skills are really essential, especially in the beginning when you're trying to develop those technical skills.
That's awesome. I love hearing that, especially, coming from the Career Center. We love
Yeah,
anything with transferable skills. I
of
know
course.
from your time at Binghamton and times that we have interacted in the Career Center that you did a couple internships as well throughout your college experience. So could you talk a little bit about those for any students who are maybe thinking about a summer internship?
Yeah, of course. So, as an economics major, that was another thing that I chose because again, I found it to be very broad in general, and I thought I could try different things, and it turned out to work just as I thought. And my first internship was the summer after I started at Binghamton. I interned at PwC as within their I believe it was IT audit, yeah, their quality assurance, I think they call it. And I just applied and I saw the job. It looked interesting, and some people might be thinking, well, what does economics major know about IT auditing? And the honest truth is not much, right? But again, it comes back to sort of pushing yourself and putting yourself out there and being willing to try new things. And I was open to that. And I think because of that, during my interview, when I presented myself that way, when I let them know, hey, I might not know everything, but I'm willing to go out there and try and learn these things. It is really what helped me get that internship. And then I interned with them for about 2 summers doing IT auditing. Really great internship. I really like the people that I worked with, and they offered me a full-time offer once I completed the second internship. But after doing IT auditing for 2 years, I decided, this is not really what I'm interested in. So I decided to not take the offer and continue to sort of pursue something else.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, a lot of students go into internships and with the goal, right, of doing a lot of networking, learning about a company, and getting that offer, much like you experienced. So I think it's really great to share that sometimes the opportunity can still be a wonderful experience in so many ways, but shows you that maybe this isn't 100% the path that you want to go down. So
Exactly. And I think internships are great for that, sort of figuring out what it is you want to do because you don't have to, work there in order to pay bills and stuff like that. So you have time to figure that out. And like you said, networking, right? Let's say you have an internship, you decided, hey, you know what? This isn't for me, but you might have met some really great people there, and you can always keep that network even if you don't keep the internship.
yeah, yeah, such a good point. I love that. And as you think about your current role, you kind of mentioned at the beginning that it's an opportunity for you to learn a lot of different things. But as you kind of go through that process, are there some career goals that you're already thinking about longer term? Like what happens after this first year in your current role?
So luckily, right now at the OCC where I'm working now, their first couple years on the job are really structured.
Mm.
So the first year you're working basically to do training. So you're assisting other bank examiners. So once in a while you might do your own they're called reviews of a bank, but for the most part you're helping someone else with their review. After that year, you have about 2 or 3 more years of doing reviews on your own now.
Mm.
And once you do that, you're working towards getting what's called a commission, and that's a designation that you get within the job that allows you to lead examinations. So now you'll be in charge of a group of people that are doing different reviews at the bank, and you get that designation by passing an exam. So those first, I would say, 4 or 5 years, really structured to get you to pass that exam.
Yeah.
After that, it's really open-ended, and there's a lot of different areas that you could end up in the agency.
Mm-hmm.
So I really haven't thought that far ahead, right? But I'm glad I have those 4 or 5 years structured. So I'm really planning on getting through training for my first year, and also once I complete that, figuring out the best way to study and pass the exam that they're setting up for me.
Mm.
that maybe in the far future, I'm not really sure where I might end up, but I'm always open to different opportunities. Who knows, whether that's within the agency or outside the agency, whatever's out there, if I find it interesting, I'll go for it.
Yeah, I think that's a great approach to be looking at your career. I mean, if we've learned anything in the last year, it's that things can change pretty quickly in a
Of
year.
course.
So, what a great opportunity to kind of have that structure and to learn and to network, and to be able to kind of continue to try out and see what you're most interested in the future moving forward.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Great. Well, you have shared so much good advice with our students and anyone who's watching, but do you have one like final piece of overarching advice if you could go back and tell yourself that you would share with us today?
Yeah. So I actually have I have two that I really wanted to sort of emphasize.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've learned so far, and I'm still learning about. So I would say in my job, since I'm a generalist, I'm always learning different things, and that's good, right? But it's sort of a double-edged sword where I'm trying different things, but I'm not really. It takes a lot longer to sort of specialize and gain those skills. And what I noticed is that the learning process can be pretty difficult. It can be an obstacle that people face. So my first piece of advice is to really embrace that learning process. So be okay with not knowing what it is that you might have to do. Just have the tools to get you to the answer. So you don't have to know the answer right when you get the assignment. But if you know how to reach out for help, how to think about things in a way that allows you to ask questions, you'll be able to get there. So a lot of the times when I first started the job, I would get an assignment and I would sort of feel overwhelmed. I'd be like, oh, where do I even start?
Yeah.
And as time progressed, I really learned how to get comfortable with that feeling and not allow it to stop me from moving forward. So for all those students out there and people that are going to be starting their new job, just know that it's completely normal to feel like that and really embrace it.
I love that. I love that. Such good advice.
Yeah. And then my next piece of advice would be to always stay curious, always try to seek out novelty and try new things. And that can be both at work and outside of work. There's a lot of things out there that people can try out. And now, especially with the pandemic, there might be some free time. If you're ever interested in any sort of hobby, seek it out and give it a try. Who knows where you'll end up because you were just curious about doing something. And again, that really goes back to sort of embracing that learning process, because you'll be trying something new and you'll be building that comfort with not knowing what it is exactly that you might be doing. So be curious and embrace the learning process.
I think that is such great advice, and especially timely advice as we do get ready to start the spring semester. So for any students watching, stay curious and be curious this spring semester and try some new things. And I love that. So thank you so much for chatting with us, Christian. I do have one last question. We end all of our all-in episodes with a food-related question because it is the lunch hour.
Okay.
It has been absolutely freezing here in Binghamton, so current students, pack all your warm clothes to come back. But it's been super cold here. So what is your go-to or favorite drink or food to warm up on a cold day?
So that's a perfect question. Just last week, I made a nice chicken noodle soup. I recommend everyone try to get some sort of like Instant Pot or slow cooker. You just throw in a bunch of vegetables, couple water, couple pieces of chicken, and some noodles, and you're set for a couple days with a nice bowl of chicken noodle soup.
I love it. That sounds like the perfect thing to warm up on a cold day. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. It was so great to catch up with you. And I'm sure students will reach out and find you on LinkedIn if they have any other questions.
Of course, and thank you for having me. Again, like you said, if any of the students want to reach out, feel free to reach out to me through LinkedIn or email or anything.
Awesome. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you, Casey. Take care. Bye.